The SMTA Citroen C1 Cup cars are on their warm-up lap at Knockhill Racing Circuit here, and well, for their first season racing in Scotland under the SMRC rules, we have got 17 cars on the grid, and that's pretty impressive stuff for a building series. Things can only get better, and it really is a great way for people to get involved in motorsport. You see the cars all coming through Clark's just now, and they'll make their way round towards the grid. Looking forward to this one. Previous races, well, we've seen lots of winners. Stephen Brewster is a name that we know from previous, who's come back to get pole position from Ryan Smith with Glanville and Preedy, the second row of the grid. Big B, and then we've got to keep an eye on Finlay Brunton. Big B and Kyle Grant, and then the rest of the runners and riders. John Critchlow making the switch from the Scottish Legends car scene across to this. How will he fare? We will find out pretty soon. 5-second board has been and gone. We have got lights on the gantry, a full complement of lights. Who will lead in towards the hairpin? Revs up, lights out, and away we go. And it's a pretty equal start across the front row of the grid, although Kieran Preedy looked like he was making a jump from row number 2, but Brewster will lead in towards Duffus Dip if we hold our breath. The hairpin's not Duffus Dip, that's a force of habit for a commentator, and through the hairpin they come. Preedy up the inside. Oh, it's very, very tight. Everybody just managing to get themselves through there, and as they do that they head towards Clark's, and this time look at this man on his own at the front, Stephen Brewster, who we've seen racing in very many things over the previous years, but look at that behind them, everybody in flying formation, and it's battle of the bravest. Ryan Smith on the outside, can he hold that position? Yes he can, only just as they go down the back straight. Emily Glanville in there, John Critchlow further towards the back just now, but he will make some progress, we would imagine, as they come through the twisty part. Oh, floppies absolutely everywhere. Glenn Alcock getting a face full of those as somebody removed them in front of him as they make their way back up in towards McIntyre's. And Kenny Dock there with a bit of a problem, car number 6 at the very back. But onto the main straight, Brewster leads from Smith. And these two guys have built up a nice bit of a gap over the rest of the pursuing pack as Preedy and Glanville with Big B try and work together as they all go across the line down towards the hairpin. And they brake, fan out from the brakes, but Stephen Brewster leads the way and does so quite comfortably just now, not having to defend too much on the way in. A few different varying lines going through there, but ultimately everybody looking pretty good actually. And look at this, so Ryan Smith's had a good run through the hairpin. He's now all over the back of Brewster as they head towards Clark Corner. Brewster, this will be new to him, this reverse direction. He's never done it before. He has raced the other direction quite a lot of times, but as we see them going through here just now, everybody using as much of the track as they possibly can, but not running wider than they really should. Rhys Robertson right now a little bit off the pace and down the grid. I'm not used to seeing Rhys all the way back down there. I'm pretty sure Rhys will get a bit of a wriggle on and get himself back up towards the front, but car 44 currently outside the top 10, and quite unusual. Kieran Preedy has got the gap between himself and Ryan Smith to try and bridge, and he's got Emily Glanville helping him try and do that. Emily tucked right up the back of Kieran Preedy just now as they all come onto the main straight and go underneath the Beatson's Building Supply Bridge once again as they head towards the hairpin. We've also got Ruston, Tom Denham, Kyle Grant, Dan Martin, John Critchlow, Elliot Laithwaite are all in that mixing pack out there just now as they've managed to get that gap down. Obviously the concertina effect on the brakes does happen. Look at how much these cars actually lean as they go through the hairpin. Car 69 there, John Critchlow, a little bit more lean angle than anybody else going through the apex of the hairpin, so trying very hard he would be as they get to Clarkson. Preedy has now gapped, or got that gap to Ryan Smith down to effectively nothing as they come through, as they make their way down the back straight, and you can see that as one big group of cars now as they all come through. And Glenn Alcock trying to go round the outside of somebody, a brave manoeuvre, and there's one floppy left. No, there's not. That floppy gets removed there by Emily Glanville. Takes that floppy out about waist height like a ninja, and she goes straight through that. Not much left of it now, one would imagine, and the marshals won't be running down the hill to get that back into place. Glenn Alcock, car 79 there for the West of Scotland College car. And look at this, so they're fanning out now. Emily Glanville with a bit of a run onto the main straight has managed to come out from behind Kieran Preedy as they all go over the line all together now. And Big B there as well. Car 24 is Kyle Grant, and Kyle Grant looking well, he can see the outsides opening up because Glanville and Brunton fight it out on the inside, and they try and get through there together if they can. And I think they've actually all managed to get through there, but it looked like Big B was about to swap positions with Emily on the run towards Clark as we look inside the cockpit there of Stephen Brewster's car. And yeah, Brunton along the inside will make that stick, and Glanville will have nothing. Well, won't be able to come back with that one there. I held my breath for a minute there because 888 as well, Ross Dunn was making a manoeuvre up the inside, and it looked like it was going to be quite a frightening one. But through the chicane they all come. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 cars all together. Fabulous racing here. This is what we like to see in the Scottish Motor Trading Association C1 Cup. Doing great wonders for themselves in the first year of racing as they come onto the main straight. You cannot afford to make a mistake here, otherwise you'll be gobbled up by the pursuing pack. But still, Brewster leads the way from Smith as they go on to the main straight under that Beatson's Building Bridge. Kyle Preedy still in third place, but Big B is up into fourth place and looking menacing as they come into the hairpin. Up the inside, does he have a look at it? Trying to go around the outside is Preedy. Preedy puts himself in a situation now where he's left himself very open and vulnerable next off the corner, and Big B will take advantage of that. Finlay Brunton will try and get himself into third place, and if that's the case, he's just on the back wheel just now. We're looking at the wrong car. Ryan Smith is in second, but there Brunton alongside Preedy, and that is another manoeuvre, signed, sealed, delivered, as Stevie Wonder would say, and good manoeuvre there by Finlay Brunton. But I did hold my breath again because they all fan out to that exit curb, and they look like they're going to use so much of it they're going to run out of road. As Brewster has a big moment coming through the chicane there. He was still turning hard right as he was almost wanting to go the other direction through the corner. As we look back to Emily Glanville, who's done, hits the sausage curb, that's good. But we look back to Emily Glanville, and she's seen Finlay Brunton come past, not just her but also Kieran Preedy, sorry. So she knows how the overtakes can now be done. And with Brunton into third place, Ryan Smith will start to have a little bit of a sweat on now as he looks in his mirror and sees the number 13 car homing in behind him. But soaking up the pressure like a pro is Stephen Brewster, car 88 at the front. And Smithy goes a little bit wide at the apex here and dials in oceans of understeer through the corner. Tom Denham, 27, all on his own. Oh, Glenn Alcock gets into the back of Rhys Robertson and punts him sideways at the hairpin. So Glenn Alcock suddenly be getting the elbows out in the SMTA Citroen C1 Cup here. So a big punt up the back as they all head towards Clark's. Now what will happen at Clark's between those two guys? Rhys Robertson will not take kindly to that. They were side by side on the way, not quite now. Alcock's managed to get back in through. Oh, Robertson goes up the inside, two wheels, bosh, straight into the side of Glenn Alcock. And well, that was something just a little bit different. But Glenn does Rhys at the hairpin, and Rhys repays the favour to Glenn at Clark. And is Glenn going to get stuck in the gravel? I believe he is. And that's not good for him, as look at this. Nice big lead for Stephen Brewster now. Can you tell the commentator smiling? I think you can actually hear that. Great racing for the SMTA Citroen C1 Cup here as they go over the crest of the hill and head towards the hairpin. In the lead, Stephen Brewster in second place. Big B, Finlay Brunton, then it's Ryan Smith. Kieran Preedy, Glanville's looking up the inside of Preedy, and Dunn looks up the inside of Glanville. So Emily just took her eye off the ball for a split second there, and Ross Dunn tried to put the 888 car, the silver 888 car, where it was not going to really fit, but it looks like it did. We've got yellow flags. We'll have waved yellow flags there. Yeah, we go. Double waved yellow flags as Alcock steps away from the car. I wonders what was that all about. Well, Rhys Robertson will probably be in the same situation now. Is that a safety car board we have got out as well? It could possibly well be, because his number 79 car is not sitting in a good position just now, as the pace looks to have reduced as they come through the chicane. But Glenn Alcock walks away from that car, wondering what that was all about. I'm pretty sure Rhys Robertson will have his story to tell, because we saw what happened at the hairpin. Rhys getting a fairly big thump in the back from Glenn Alcock as well, as Brewster leads him onto the main straight. And what a racing return it's been for this man in the number 88 car. I'm trying to remember what Stephen Brewster raced. I'm thinking of Porsches or maybe Caterhams. It's going back quite a bit now. It was probably Minis as well, the Celtic Speed Mini Cooper Cup. His dad George, an extremely fast man in a Caterham and a Porsche, and Brewster's They're taking a little break from it, but coming back for this one-off event. Not bad when you get pole position, then you start leading the race. Let's see if he can convert that into a race win though. As the cars head round the hairpin towards Hislop's. You can see Rhys Robertson's still going with no damage on the car, so these cars pretty strong. And finally we've picked up the pace car. I couldn't see very many safety car boards there, and I was actually thinking, are we under a safety car? But yes, we are. We can see it on the timing screen at the bottom, safety car deployed. And the rescue team will be recovering the car of Glenn Alcock from the gravel at Clark's. And they'll park him halfway down the back straight, or possibly at the chicane, one would imagine. So double waved yellow flags. That's a skill in itself, that, to be able to do that. One of the marshals there waving 2 flags at once. So the lights have gone off, the safety car has bolted, and here comes Brewster onto the main straight, and he can pick up whenever he likes. And he's gone, he's pulled away. In second place, Finlay Brunton. Third place, Ryan Smith. Fourth place, Preedy Glanville. Done. The rest all come through absolutely nose to tail over the line, you could say, into the hairpin. Brewster's obviously kept the brakes and the tyres warm enough that he can brake as late as he possibly can. Brunton a little bit tighter on the apex there, and Denham up the inside. A good move by Denham. John Critchlow also very much involved in the battle, just a little bit further down the field than I would imagine he would like to be just now as we head towards Clark Corner. It is Stephen Brewster from Finlay Brunton, as we can see them coming through Clark's just now. Ryan Smith still in third place. Oh, drops a wheel over. Oh, Glanville does, and Dunn does as well. Everybody just taking a little bit more speed through the corner and running out off road there on the exit of Clark's as we come through the chicane. And Ryan Smith now starting to put quite a bit of pressure onto the back of Finlay Brunton. And Finlay, can he cope with that pressure? I would imagine so. Oh, big understeering moment there for Kyle Grant, and he's got Tom Denham side by side through the bottom of Leslie's. Who will take that? At the top is Denham. Grant just decides to back out of that one rather than risk any damage. Not what you want to have. Dan Martin involved in that battle as well as they come up over the crest of the hill and in towards the hairpin. Finlay Brunton's pulled away just a little bit from Ryan Smith on that last lap, and then you've got Kieran Preedy all on his own ahead of Emily Glanville. It's a great showing from Emily, and so far the fastest lap of the race goes to Ross Dunn as we look down our timing screen, our Edinburgh Watch Company smart timing screen. And somebody uses the grass to go towards Clark Corner there. Yeah, Ross Dunn with a 1:11.077, and he has a big moment coming through Clark's here. Tom Denham, you can see that he was never going to stay on the track there, and it's almost a game of who will stay on the track from a visualising point as they come through. They're all using the sausage curbs now, so things are starting to get more and more racy as it gets towards the business end of this race. As we see Brunton right on the back bumper of Brewster as they come onto the main straight. And Brewster still holds his own. He hasn't been headed at all in this race. He's had almost lights to flag. If he can keep this going, it will be lights to flag over the crest of the hill. The lights are on for Brunton, but it's a checker flag for Brewster. He wins from Finlay Brunton in second place. Ryan Smith runs out the podium. Kieran Preedy, Emily Glanville gets a top 5, and Ross Dunn comes home in 6th place from Denham, Grant, Martin and Critchlow. Let's hand down to Fiona for some post-race SMTA Citroen C1 Cup.
Well done, Stephen. First time out in the car in a good few years. Nice to see the race suit still fits as well.
I know, it's straight out the dry cleaners. Had to dust the cobwebs off of it and make sure it still fits, as you say. But it was good fun, really enjoyed it. More so than I thought.
And good battles with the guys behind you.
Yeah, they were totally on the pace. Keep me honest, I couldn't go anywhere. I couldn't leave them. I made a couple of mistakes. They just pulled me straight back in. So it was, trying to just keep a gap, which I was kind of managing, but I wasn't moving ahead anywhere. So it was good fun.
And are you back for good, or is this just for some fun?
This is a practice round for going away with a few other guys to do the C1 stuff in Spa at 24. So hopefully I've got a taste for it and I can come back and do something permanent next year.
No P2 there, good battle with Ryan, and you're both in the championship hunt.
Yeah, I could obviously that he was my main target from the start, just trying to make up as many places and keep the gap to him as close as possible, if not obviously in front of him as well. But I managed to get a run on him at the hairpin into Clark's. I I think he made a mistake under the braking into the hairpin and lost the exit speed, so I managed to get up at his inside into Clark's and held him behind me for the rest of the race.
You got a good restart under the safety car.
Yeah, I was ready. John Duncan last round had a good safety car restart and I was kind of caught a bit off guard, so this time I was obviously planted on the back of the bumper in front to not let any gaps in front of me up the straight. Yeah, I was pleased with that. I noticed Ryan was about the same behind me as well, so my main worry was the guy in front was a guest, I can't remember his name, but
Stephen,
that's it. My main concern was keeping Ryan behind me and managed to do that, so I was happy.
Well done, Ryan. P3 finish there, you quite happy with that?
Happy enough, it's still a podium. I feel like I had the pace to win that one. I just couldn't get past Stephen, and that was backing us into the pack. And it was just so close. Qualifying was so close. The top 7 were, I think it was half a second. So everyone was running the same pace, and then we kind of got backed into the pack a bit, and Finlay got through. So still third place is still a good result, but a bit more hopefully in race 2.
And with the reverse direction, it's so easy to defend reverse direction. It's hard to get past, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly. And in the C1s, it's so easy to lose speed up Duffus. Anywhere that's uphill basically is really killing these cars. So it's hard to really get that really good run to actually get a move done. But the hairpin is probably really the only good place unless somebody gets a bad run out of a corner. But it was a really close race. It was good. I've got a trophy out of it, so happy enough.
And I don't know what the points are now between you and Finlay, so it's going down to the wire, I think.
Yeah, I think I heard on the tannoy when we're walking back, the Finlay's now in front, so that's a wee bit extra determination for the next one.
Good, well, I'm sure you can do it.
Hopefully.
Thanks, Ryan.
Race number 2 for the SMTA Citroen C1 Cup, and a little bit of housekeeping after race number 1. An amended result after John Critchlow received a 0.8 second penalty, so 0.8 of a penalty applied to him for gaining an unfair advantage for John Critchlow, and that put him outside the top 10. And also a new lap record in that race for Ross Dunn, a 1:11.077. Fastest lap, reverse direction, and a lap record. So cracking stuff from Ross Dunn. The pace is definitely there. And Brewster and Brunton are on the front row of the grid here. Yes, the championship is very tight. Ryan Smith has it all to do. The 5-second board is out. We have lights coming on the bridge in the gantry. Full complement of lights. Let's Go Racing has a very, very quick turnaround there. Did that catch a few people out? Quite possibly it did. And they head down towards the hairpin. Glenn Alcock at the very back after not finishing that first race. Everybody goes towards the inside. Brewster is the Pied Piper as they come through the hairpin for the first time of asking now. And yes, they all managed to get through. By the looks of things, it's kind of tight in the mid-pack. But there's no bits of car lying on the track, which is always a good thing. On board with Ryan Smith, brilliant. Some on-board footage is what we want as we go towards Clark Corner. Ahead of him, well, it's pick a line, isn't it? He's got to try and just get himself through here as best as he can. At the very front, Brewster and Brunton lead the way, and the rest of the pack all come through. Kieran Preedy with a good third place, so that's who Ryan Smith was looking at. Then we've got Emily Glanville and Ross Dunn side by side. That looked like Tom Denham was just in the back. Now, is that some rain falling? Yes, it is. The wipers come on. So brilliant stuff here, just what the drivers don't want, a little bit of rain falling. As if it's not hard enough to drive a race car. You can see right out to the edge of the track, but we have got sunny skies, so the rain's obviously been blowing in from a far cloud. It shouldn't affect the track conditions too much. As you can see, it's very, very bright. And yeah, that will come to next to nothing, but saw it on the screen there, saw it on the camera, and yeah, a few drivers will be kind of freaked out a little bit about that. That'll be more mental rain than anything else. And Brunton pops out from the slipstream as they come in towards the hairpin, but Brewster has that one pretty much covered just now as they come through and head towards the hairpin, or from the hairpin towards Clark's. It's quite difficult when you're used to commentating the other direction. As we see, the wipers still on with Ryan Smith, and that's Kieran Preedy ahead of us. Both guys out towards the left-hand side. Smithy comes across. Will he use the curb? Yes, he does. Breaks over the curb, turns the car in. Great view this from the onboard footage of just how much lean and roll there actually is in these cars. And Tom Denham's got ahead of Ross Dunn, and he's on the back of Emily Glanville, just hanging out there if he can, as the leaders all bounce their way through the twisty part of the circuit. And Finlay Brunton means business in this one. He's let Stephen Brewster come into the championship where he's been reigning supreme, and Brewster's waltzed his way into a pole position and the race win, and Big B will not be happy with that. As they come onto the main straight, he's tucked right in the slipstream. Finley's about 6'4". He's an absolute man mountain when you see him stepping out of one of these cars. But over the line they go on our static start line camera. Brewster on the inside, Brunton trying to go round the long way, going the hero's kind of route. Can he do the famous cutback from the apex? So this is what he's very good at. He tries to get through. No, this isn't Brewster's first rodeo. He's been here before and he knows how to deal with some pressure. As he looks in his mirror, all he'll see is a windscreen and a face. He won't see the front of that car at all, because Brunton's that close to him as they head towards Clark Curve. The battle for third place as well, still Preedy and Smith, 2-2, and then another 2. Glanville still ahead actually, and doing a cracking job of holding Tom Denham at bay. Then Ross Dunn, the lap record holder from race number 1, comes firing through the chicane as well. Kyle Grant, Stephen Morrison, Elliot Laithwaite and Rhys Robertson all in the pack there as well. As we come back through the bottom of Leslie's, look at this. It looks like Kieran Preedy is dragging Smithy up to the back of the leading 2. So either the leading 2 have made a little mistake there, but Kieran Preedy's put together a fabulous lap here. Onto the back now of Finlay Brunton. Finlay's been trying to put as much pressure on the leader as he can. So it looks like it's a group of 4 at the front now, with maybe just off the back a little bit, where he doesn't want to be, Ryan Smith with the yellow and grey car. Now Brunton, that's a good manoeuvre. That's what he wanted to do. He has now done half of the manoeuvre. He just needs to sit there on the left-hand side of Stephen Brewster. Brewster is now under big attack. There's nothing Brewster can do. He's going to lose 1 place. He doesn't want to lose 2 at Clark's, because here comes Kieran Preedy as well. Brewster's going to try and be as brave as he can, but he tries to go around the outside, but he slots in. He knows that was a big threat to his first and second place, and yeah, Preedy down the inside now. Look at this, Preedy's going past. This is on board with Ryan Smith. Ryan Smith could make this work as well if he gets on behind Preedy. He will. Brewster's going to go from first to third, goes right in behind Kieran Preedy, goes Ryan Smith. He'll go up the inside. Good manoeuvre, very opportunistic stuff there by Ryan Smith, and that shows you just how important the Citroen C1 is. If you make a silly little error, not an error, if you get caught out napping, as Brewster did at the hairpin there, he's basically been teamed up and ganged up and beaten up, and here comes Emily Glanville now, first to third in 1 lap. Brunton, Preedy and Smith all get past Stephen Brewster, and Brewster will come back, that's for sure. He's not going to be happy with that. He's already looking up the inside of Ryan Smith, but what he doesn't want to do is anything silly and compromise these guys' championships. He's a veteran race driver when it comes to that. He goes past Smithy, and Ryan Smith now tucks him behind. You can see he almost takes a hand off the wheel and curses himself there, does Ryan Smith. Where is Emily Glanville? Well, little wave there, and a wave back to Emily. Emily maybe just touching his rear bumper there, or who knows what was going on. But look at Finlay Brunton. Not only has he done a fabulous overtaking manoeuvre, he's now also put a bit of time into Kieran Preedy, and he's pulling away as the floppies have been removed, clinically removed by somebody, and they're all lying down the hill towards Butchers. But Glanville and Denham come up the hill towards McIntyre's together, and Ross Dunn, the lap record holder, who took that in race number 1, will be pretty happy with how his speed is, but he'll want to be a little bit further up the scoreboards. As look at that, Smith right on the back bumper of Brewster. Will he give him a little wave? No, he just ducks out from his slipstream, but again he's having to go the long way round. His car does have a fair bit of horses. He needs to try and get past and cut across the front, but he can't do it. They're in the braking zone. You don't want to be moving about in the braking zone. It's frowned upon. And through they goes. Can Smith cut back? Now he's trying to do what Finlay Brunton did, but just he was almost close enough, but not quite. Stephen Brewster in this second race is not having it like he had it in the first race, where it was pretty much plain sailing for the young man from Edinburgh. But Brunton leads the way from Preedy, Brewster, Smith, Glanville, done up the inside of Denham, and that move is done, pardon the pun, before they get to Clark Corner. Great stuff from Ross Dunn there. Through he goes on 888 as we see the rest of the crazy gang coming through, and that was Grant, Morrison, Laithwaite, Robertson, Martin, John Critchlow down there in 13th position just now, not making much in the way of progress as he wanted to, but no warning flags and no slaps in the wrist for John in this one. But this is a new thing for John as well, being used to racing rear-wheel drive cars. He's now jumped into a front-wheel drive car, and it is a big learning curve, especially when you jump in the middle of somebody else's championship. You've been up to speed and racing it all year. Rather him than me. As Finlay Brunton in car 13 leads in towards the hairpin. From 21, Kieran Preedy, 94, Ryan Smith. Behind Stephen Brewster just now. I forgot about Stephen Brewster there. As we have a look at the Edinburgh Watch Company smart timing screen, fastest lap of the race is actually Stephen Brewster. And he's done 1:11.1, so a tenth of a second away from the lap record for Brewster. So pretty hot pace. You'll be enjoying that. And as we see the cars going through Clark Corner, they have closed back up at the front. Finlay Brunton is not having this his own way as they come down towards the chicane. As we look to see the pack all bouncing through the chicane and heading towards, well, they start climbing from Butchers. You don't stop climbing until you get to the actual start line on top of the hill. It's a long way, it's a long climb in a Citroen C1. And as they come over the crest of Duffus, they say it's easy to lose time there and easy to lose speed, and if you do, you leave yourself very vulnerable on the actual run up the hill here as we go past all the marshals and over the crest of the hill towards the hairpin. And Kieran Preedy starting to look a little bit menacing now, if anything, on the back of Finlay Brunton as they come through the hairpin. Oh, Tom Denham was he into the side or up the inside of Emily there? Well, Emily will have felt that if he was coming in the back quarter panel, that is for sure, because that was a pretty aggressive looking stance for Tom Denham to be taking as he went in towards the hairpin. We haven't seen anything on screen, so I'm imagining it's okay. Yeah, Denham with a good manoeuvre. He has got past Emily. Emily will be a little bit angry with that one, and I'm pretty sure the comeback is on now. Where's Ross Dunn going? He's deciding that he wants to do rallycross. That's not here till October, but feel free to come back and do that if you want, Ross. And he manages to hold his place, but because Tom Denham also done it, Emily snapped straight back and got an overtake done on Tom Denham straight away, and that's a good manoeuvre from Emily. Just to then cover that at McIntyre's, because Tom Denham in 27 was already starting to have a think about going back up the inside. Over the crest of Duffus step they go. Emily will be watching her mirrors all the way up the main street here, trying to second guess where Denham's going to go as they go over the crest of the hill. These two at the front have just started to pull away a little bit from Stephen Brewster, who is maybe a little bit more preoccupied with Ryan Smith behind him. Where's Kieran Preedy going? Well, he tries to do a long lap almost there and then cut back in. Ross Dunn, again, nice, looks good going through the hairpin. Ross Dunn's car, just a little bit floaty at the back, but not floaty enough to be slow as they come through Hislops and in towards Clark's once again. In the sunshine here at Knockhill Racing Circuit. Quite late in the day as well. We're almost about 4 o'clock, so that sun as they come over the crest of the hill, head towards Epping, will be blinding them. And Emily Glanville again under pressure, big pressure from Tom Denham. He is not finished with her yet. As they come through the chicane, Emily very wide. Yeah, Emily deciding that she wants to do rallycross now, which is here in October, so she's a month early for that. As they go up towards McIntyre's. So the pressure definitely getting to Emily from Tom Denham. But it shows just how hard these guys and girls are having to push. And these little tyres that they're on are probably, I would imagine, past their best by this point of the day as they go on to the last lap. So it's now or never for Kieran Preedy and Stephen Brewster as well, with the number plate a little askew on the front of that number 88 car. Is he looking up the inside? No, where's Preedy going? He covers that off pretty well. And they all leave the hairpin. Brunton in the king's seat just now. Big B leads away from Kieran Preedy, Stephen Brewster. We go on board with fourth place man Ryan Smith. As we watch Ryan coming towards Clark, Smithy will be thinking, I've got to get a podium. Damage limitation with the championship here. As they go over the crest of Clark Corner, Brewster takes a whole heap of curb. That will slow him down, because when you're on two wheels, you're not going as fast as when you're on four. You can't be on the power. Down the back straight, turning into the chicane. Good manoeuvre from Smith there, goes through, bounces over every curb possible in sight. Is he going to have a look in towards McIntyre's here? Will Brewster see this coming? Up the inside goes Smith. It's a good manoeuvre. Brewster sees him. There's a tiny love tap at the apex, and Brewster gets shown the edge of the track and into the gravel. They're side by side. Brewster tries to squeeze him across towards the apex. This is pretty good racing, but on to Duffus Dip. Brewster has to give second best. He's lost a whole heap of momentum. It's going to be Finlay Brunton who takes the victory as he comes over the hill. Checker flag waves for Big B in 13. Kieran Preedy with an excellent second place in 21. And Ryan Smith gets the elbows out and the boxing gloves on for that third place over Brewster and Ross Dunn. Great stuff from the SMTA Citroen C1 Cup. Let's hand down to Fiona and get the post-race interviews with the guys that really matter.
Finlay, another win there for you. Must be pretty pleased with that, and you were kept on your toes, I would say.
I was kept on my toes. Yeah, very, very pleased with that. Taking back the championship lead. I was keen behind Stephen. Remembered his name this time. I was keen behind Stephen because I felt like in the first race Ryan was backed up a bit, and that's how I managed to catch and pass him. So I was keen for that not to happen to me. So I was trying, and Stephen was defending really well, but I eventually managed to get the run on the exit of the hairpin over to Clark's and made it stick. I thought from there I would outpace Stephen and have it quite easy to the finish, but I saw that Kieran managed to slip through as well, so I eventually had a wild Kieran Preedy on the back of my bumper, and I was having to defend from Kieran but managed to hold it to the checkered flag. Happy.
So I think there's only 7 points now between you and...
I've not worked it out yet.
Yeah, 7 points lead, so it's not much. So what's your tactics going to be for October?
Don't DNF, that'd be a killer. Try and get a good qualifying up the pointy end, and just try and make a C1 look like a bus and defend.
That's going to be some job, making it look like a bus.
I'll sellotape two together.
Well, best of luck with that.
Thanks very much. Cheers.
Kieran, second place finish there. You were involved with a good 4-car battle. You must be pretty happy.
Yeah, I'm happy with it completely. Just didn't expect it because we had an issue with the CV joint this morning, and managed to get it sorted. We found a spare part from Performance Tech, so thanks to them just for helping us out and stuff. Yeah, it's just amazing.
And you're pushing Finlay hard there towards the end.
I was hoping he'd make a mistake, but he didn't. So
You'll take your second place.
Yeah, I'm happy with that completely. Yeah, brilliant.
Are you quite happy with third place? Are you quite disappointed?
Kind of a bit of both. Obviously, but it's so close between me and Finlay for the championship. Losing points isn't great, but still 2 podiums, still good points. There's plenty of points to get to play for next time, so we're still in it. Just need to come out faster next time.
I think there's 7 point gap, so there's not much really in between you.
Yeah, well, it was 6 points between me and him today, and he's come back from that, so we'll see. Try and come back from it next time as well.
Anything can happen.
Exactly.
You had a good battle though with Stephen Brewster out on track.
Yeah, I managed to get obviously Finlay past him, and then Kieran passed him. Sorry, Kieran passed him through the chicane, and I managed to get past, and then he got me back down the straight, and I was basically glued to his bumper the whole way. I had to try something, so I made a bit of a lunge into McIntyre's on the last lap, a little bit side to side, but I think it was clean enough, and just got the place. So it was a good battle.
Well done. We'll see you again in October.
Yep. Thank you.